Journal entry, Solemn Vows. I felt so beautiful in my white gown. The silk lace and tulle were accented by winking crystals on embroidered roses and flowed over my petite figure. My hair was piled high on my head, held in place with a crystal-beaded comb, a gift from Angelo, and a few curly locks framed my face. I wore no veil. I felt like a princess. Angelo said I was a princess to him. His tuxedo consisted of black slacks and a white jacket with a red bow tie and vest. I picked it out, and he was happy to let me. He said all that was important was that I would soon be his. My arm was wrapped around Lee's as we walked toward the vine-covered Italian gazebo in our backyard, where I would bind myself to Angelo. All 150 chairs were filled, and we were awed by the support we received. No one had judged us when we announced that we were getting married, with the exception of one person. The negativity was from a longtime neighbor who told Angelo how wrong it was to marry me and how much he disgusted her for taking advantage of me that way. She definitely was not at the wedding, which suited us fine. Kimberly, Allison, and Denise looked beautiful in their yellow bridesmaids' gowns, and I was so grateful to have them there. Sylvia, Kate, and Lee looked wonderful in their wedding attire as well. Sylvia and Kate were my maids of honor. They were the only ones who knew about my condition, and all three had tears trailing down their faces before the Reverend began to speak. Words could never express how much I treasured their friendship. When I reached Angelo, he took my hand in his, never taking his eyes from mine. As we gazed at one another, I felt as if we could see into each other's soul. With a great deal of effort, we finally turned, giving our attention to the Reverend Sandler as he began. We are gathered here today in the sight of God to join Angelo and Katerina together in holy matrimony. As I stand here watching them together, I feel their love radiating around us, and I know that no two people were more meant for each other. He gave us a kindly smile, his eyes now misty. Now Angelo and Ekaterina have written their own vows. The Reverend gestured for Angelo to go first. Facing me, he held my hand against his chest, and I felt his steady heartbeat. Katia, there are no words to describe what you mean to me. No words are good enough. You have brought such joy and happiness into my life. I love you so much, my heart cannot hold it all. You are the air I breathe, and I promise to love, honor, and cherish you, and always be faithful to you through the good times and the bad. My love for you is unconditional, Katia, and I promise you that my love will see you through clear skies and stormy days. No matter what comes, I will love you through it, forever and beyond. I watched him swallow hard, the tears falling down his face, matching my own. I reached out and gently wiped mine away. There was so much love in his eyes. His very gaze branded me. His name was written upon my heart. It always had been. The Reverend prompted me to speak my vows. Angelo, you've been everything to me for as long as I can remember. You have cared for me, sheltered me, and loved me. When I thought I had no one, you were there. I paused as a fresh river of tears came. And I know you always will be. I love you with all that I am, and I promise to love, honor, and cherish you, and always be faithful to you through the good times and the bad. My love for you is unconditional, Angelo, and I promise you that my love will see you through clear skies and stormy days. No matter what comes, I will love you through it, forever and beyond. Wiping his eyes, Reverend Sandler continued, Angelo, do you take Ekaterina as your lawfully wedded wife? I do, he answered firmly. Ekaterina, do you accept Angelo as your lawfully wedded husband? I do, I replied with equal firmness. We then exchanged rings, and the Reverend said, By the power vested in me, I pronounce you, Angelo and Caterina, husband and wife. Taking me in his arms, Angelo whispered, I love you. I whispered that I love him too, and holding tightly to each other, we shared our first kiss as man and wife. I would forever remember this as the happiest moment of my life. We quickly moved over to the reception area and stood in front of an iron floral draped arbor where we were congratulated, hugged, and wished well. The band was playing one of our favorite songs as Angelo led me up to the large square platform for a dance. Even though there were couples swaying around us, we were lost in our own little world. I gazed around for a moment, taking in the beautiful details before returning my eyes to his. Happy? He asked. I smiled, so completely in love. Extremely. So am I. Thank you, Angelo. This is the best wedding day I could have asked for. Everything is perfect. You are perfect, he said, kissing me. Closing my eyes, I rested my brow against his chin as he held me closer. We danced through another song before heading to the bride and groom table to eat. The food was catered by the hotel restaurant and was perfect as always. Ours was a traditional Italian dinner, and there were 12 courses, starting with antipasto appetizers and ending with a beautiful Italian wedding cake made to my specifications. There were plenty of food choices to satisfy everyone. Neither of us wanted alcohol served at our wedding, and the guests seemed content with the flowing sparkling cider. We were toasted throughout the meal, receiving various wishes for a happy marriage, long life, and many children. Angelo and I simply smiled at one another, words of love and encouragement silently spoken through our mutual gazes. Though we were saddened by the fact that some of these wishes were not possible, we wouldn't dwell on those things. This was our day. Our hearts were wrapped in love, and we were warmed by the knowledge that we would be together forever. When we finally left our guests and went into the house to change for the trip, Angelo told me we were going to Mackinac Island for our honeymoon. My favorite movie was still Somewhere in Time, and I was ecstatic about spending our honeymoon in a place it was filmed. Angelo said it was only because there was a cancellation that we were able to get into the Grand Hotel. Most reservations were done in advance at this time of year. We were fortunate enough to even get a suite. My things were now moved in with Angelo's, but we decided to change in separate rooms, which only increased our anticipation of finally giving ourselves to each other. Angelo put our luggage in the trunk, and we drove off an hour later amid cheers and farewells and headed to the airport.